by this violence.
Yeah, it's so true. They represent everybody, right? Speaker Gingrich, I know you have a final thought for us.
Yeah, look, the number one problem in almost all these cities is George Soros elected left-wing, anti-police, pro-criminal district attorneys who refuse to keep people locked up. Just yesterday, they put somebody back on the street who's wanted for 2 different murders in New York City. You cannot solve this problem, and both Harris and Biden have talked very proudly about what they call progressive district attorneys. Progressive district attorneys are anti-police, pro-criminal, and overwhelmingly elected with George Soros's money, and they're a major cause of the violence we're seeing because they keep putting the violent criminals back on the street.
I'm not sure we need to bring George Soros into this.
I was going to say you get the last word, Speaker.
He paid for it. I mean, why can't we discuss the fact that millions of dollars he spent?
I agree with Melissa. George Soros doesn't need to be a part of this conversation.
Okay. So it's verboten.
All right, we're going to.
That was so weird, wasn't it?
Awkward.
Welcome to the Bill Mason Show. That was a weird interaction with Newt Gingrich. We might play that again in a second. We have an apology from Fox too as well. We're going to show, but that whole thing is weird about Kent Mitch and George Soros.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is that you thought that if something's factual, I guess we always went to Fox and kind of hoped that they would hold the line with the factual stuff. And you know, the stuff that Newt brought up is fact. You can go to opensecrets.org and it shows the campaign donations from Soros to Democrats, like 97%, all these Democrats, and even goes as far as getting these attorney generals and stuff elected. So it's all facts. He's not making it up. I mean, for Fox to be like, oh, we don't have to mention his name, like he's Voldemort or something.
Right. It's like he's Alex Jones or something. Well, yeah. I mean, you can't mention George Soros' name. What's going on? So I'm going to play the clip again, the last part, just the weird part. And then we're going to show the Fox,
apology,
whatever you want to call it. And then just later on the show, we have some videos of a Milwaukee man getting harassed by BLM, and he got arrested. It was kind of weird.
He had a Trump flag or something hanging out of his window, and they showed up at his house and put a spotlight in his window and threatened the guy.
Yeah,
and I mean, he gets arrested. I don't understand that.
I mean, it's 2020, man. I tell you, it's weird stuff. So let's take a look at the Soros with Newt Gingrich again. It was all weirdness stuff. So let's take a look.
Yeah.
By this violence.
Yeah, it's so true. They represent
anti-police, pro-criminal, and overwhelmingly elected with George Soros's money, and they're a major cause of the violence we're seeing because they keep putting the violent criminals back on the street.
I'm not sure we need to bring George Soros into this.
I was going to say you get the last word, Speaker.
He paid for it. I mean, why can't we discuss the fact that millions of dollars he spent?
I agree with Melissa. George Soros doesn't need to be a part of this conversation.
Okay. So it's verboten.
All right, we're going to. Okay, we're going to move on. A historic day at the White House. We covered it from.
Oh, so weird. All right, so we're going to play the apology. So let's take a look.
Okay.
So we had a little incident on the show yesterday that was not smooth. And while I was leading that segment, we had interruptions, and I sat silently while all of that played out. Also not ideal. Our guest, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, who is beloved and needed to be allowed to speak with the openness and respect that the show is all about, was interrupted. Do we debate with fire here? Yes, but we must also give each other the space to express ourselves. As the only original member of the 6-year-old amazing daytime ride known as Outnumbered, I especially want to rock and roll with every voice and perspective at the table. We don't censor on this show, and that's why we're winning weekdays at noon.
That's why they're winning.
That's right.
So,
And
I mean, again, that was kind of weird why they want to shut down George Soros' name.
yeah, from Newt mentioning actual factual stuff. And like I said, I got it right here. It's on my phone. This is opensecrets.org. You probably can't, see it too well.
See it.
But anyway, on there's lists of people like that he's donated to. I mean, out of all the people, Tom Cotton, a conservative, and Tom Tillis, a conservative. Two guys got about $5,000 from him. Everybody else is like the who's who of the Democratic Party, and some of these people you don't even realize, you don't recognize their names, but they're administrators and attorney generals and prosecutors and stuff like that. So his money goes wide and very far in the Democratic Party.
Yes, it does. We did a show only on George Soros, how he was a Nazi collaborator, all that other stuff. So we did a whole show on that. People need to go back and take a look at that. Where we're going to show you the Soros diagram here.
Yeah, he's like an octopus, man. He's got so many feelers out there. I think it's to the point now where he has more money out there in the world than he actually has. And he's one of those guys that can't physically run out of money because it's all in trust funds and very protected areas. And it's kind of when he says there's money in something, he can either get a loan to back it or, someone out of fear, just does things. And that's kind of like how he operates, really. Like, moveon.org and Black Lives Matter and like all that stuff you see in the center. That's his focus right now. But you got to remember, he really got on the map during like the Occupy Wall Street. And everybody thought like, that was nothing. And that went on during the Obama administration. But that was something that they were all okay with because they knew it would eventually lead to this. All those early occupiers, the people that didn't shower for 3 weeks in New York City, they're the people now that are leading these Antifa lunatics and burning cities. I mean, it's like they were team building.
Right. Yeah, just a preamble to what's happening now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, his tentacles again go far and wide. Again, go back and see our video of George Soros. We did a whole video of that. We probably need to do a 2-hour video of George Soros. It's so big.
Because he doesn't stop. And the God's honest truth of all this is that he doesn't have good intentions. Like people won't mention the fact that once you take money from him, he owns you. And everyone knows that in politics. And it's very strange that an outlet like Fox is now going, shh, because that kind of scares me a little. Because I put a lot of weight into some of the Fox News people. And, I pick and choose who I watch just like anyone else. But I'm starting to lose faith in the platform, just media in general. It really seems like they're all bought.
They are. I mean, since Trump came on in 2016, 15, 16, I mean, you can really tell who's the bad guys, who's the good guys.
Absolutely. And you can also tell who really doesn't have, you watch these new reporters, right? So the new White House correspondents that are, being paid by, it doesn't matter if it's MSNBC or CNN or whoever it is, they are there for the attack. They're not there as normal journalists who want to ask questions and get an answer. If you watch all these people, the first part of the quote unquote question is an attack on Trump, and then they want an answer. And it's never been done like that before. This is like a whole new way of trying to turn an assault on somebody into like a press conference. And that's why I love K-Mac, his press secretary, that just comes out and shreds these people and puts them back in their box.
Right. Yeah. We're not going to talk about that. We're talking about this next reporter.
Okay.
That's what she said the other day. I forgot what the question was. And she goes, okay, we're not talking about that. We're going to talk about what we're talking about now.
Oh yeah, she has shut. Yeah. She has shut that idiot at CNN. Well, I forget his name. damn, he's so
Jim
famous.
Acosta?
Oh, Acosta.
Yeah.
Oh, she shuts Acosta down. The minute he starts going down a road like where he's making some kind of slanderous thing against Trump, she's like, and your question is? Okay, next question. And she just moves right on. Like,
Right.
she doesn't give him the time of day. And she comes with facts, too. They try to put K-Mac against the wall, and she's got this binder. And I would love to have 5 minutes in that binder, man, because that thing is packed with information. She just has, and it's so easy. She's just like, bam, 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 boom. And it's facts, and it's numbers, and it's everything that they wanted that they thought she was going to stumble over, and she doesn't. So, I mean, thank God for K-Mac, man, because in this world, as we're watching the media just kind of turn into this, this device, this propaganda device, man, where there's things you can't say, and if you say the things that are lies, they push you forward in the media.
Right, I agree. Or they disband you on YouTube or Google or whatever.
Yes,
So,
and we are finding out full well that just the name Trump is enough to get you pushed down. You know, just mentioning it.
Yeah, I agree. So now we have John Kerry. He mentioned this is John Kerry was the Secretary of State under Obama. He said it can't be no peace in the Middle East. Just take a look and see what he said, okay?
There will be no separate peace between Israel and the Arab world. I want to make that very clear to all of you. I've heard several prominent politicians in Israel sometimes saying, well, the Arab world's in a different place now. We just have to reach out to them and we can work some things with the Arab world and we'll deal with the Palestinians. No, 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 and no. I can tell you that reaffirmed even in the last week as I have talked to leaders of the Arab community. There will be no advance and separate peace with the Arab world without the Palestinian process and Palestinian peace. Everybody needs to understand that. That is.
Today's signing sets history on a new course. Today the world sees that they're choosing cooperation over conflict, friendship over enmity, prosperity over poverty, and hope over despair. They are choosing a future in which Arabs and Israelis, Muslims, Jews, and Christians can live together, pray together, and dream together, side by side in harmony, community, and peace. Once again, let me congratulate the people of Israel, the people of the United Arab Emirates, and the people of the Kingdom of Bahrain. God bless you all. This is an incredible day for the world.
There we go. So John Kerry said no a few years ago.
Yep. Apparently, it's just like the old magic wand challenge that Obama laid on Trump for the jobs market. And this was just another one of those Democratic things that, I mean, you know, they obviously either thought they couldn't or didn't want to for whatever reason. And I mean, we could dive into that another show because that's pretty deep. But, you know, the Democrats didn't seem to have any reason to push any of that stuff. And they didn't.
No, I mean, obviously Trump is doing it. Looks like 5 or 6 more countries are going to recognize Israel and make peace with Israel. So good things happen in the Middle East. So let's take a look at the election, when that's going to happen. So it looks like we're at
46.
46 days, 11 hours, 7 minutes, and 40 seconds. When are we going to have a winner after that day, November the 3rd?
I honestly doubt it because, like, you know, I mentioned a couple shows ago that they technically have until December to tally all the things and get all the electoral college votes. And honestly, I mean, some people are calling for it to go into January, and all the social media platforms are already prepping people. You know, Zuckerberg already made a statement. Jack from Twitter made a statement that, you know, like I said, all votes matter. We need to count every vote, every ballot from everywhere. And this is their way of saying that give us 2 more months so we can fake this crap. You know what I mean? To me, that's how I look at it.
Yep, I agree. So, I mean, we'll see what happens now. We have Biden with the teleprompter again. I mean, he is reading off that teleprompter. I mean,
badly. And
right,
not good.
He can't even read off the teleprompter. I mean, our show is live, based on, well, we're recorded, but we don't edit.
We don't edit. We don't have anything written down. We're
Yeah.
probably like the most off-the-cuff guys you'll ever watch.
So if you see us flub or do something
Yeah.
weird or say something weird, it's because we don't edit this stuff. So, so let's take a look at what Biden said the other day. Take a look.
Ever used a teleprompter during local interviews or to answer Q&A with supporters?
What will your administration do to help them give them that chance?
Let's move it up here. You know, there used to be a basic part.
Joe Biden possibly, reading his responses from a teleprompter.
Social distancing and wearing masks, which I never do when I walk outside of this house. I never fail to do. Now, one day, on day one.
Has Joe Biden ever used a teleprompter during local interviews or to answer Q&A?
Trying to distract the American people.
Can you say yes or no,
Brett?
Yes or no? You can't answer the question.
You know, the rapidly rising and with I don't know.
So there we go. So that you see the teleprompter in the mirror there. You know he was doing it. They're not going to admit it.
No, and I think it's going to come to a point where as we get close to the debates, maybe they will. Honestly, maybe they'll come out and say, "Yeah, we use a teleprompter. So what?" Because that's what Democrats do as well. Is that when their backs against the wall, they just try to minimize whatever they did. So I'm expecting them to actually own that eventually and say, "Yeah, we use teleprompter. So what?"
Yeah, and they're going to probably say, "We spied on the Trump campaign. Who cares?
Who cares? Who didn't?"
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, man.
Come on, man. It's just spying.
All right, so we have a disturbing video here. I mean, it's really disturbing. We have Black Lives Matter Antifa surrounding this guy's house, harassing him, and the guy with the gun inside the house gets arrested.
And you know what gets me before you play this? They seem to know this guy.
Yeah.
Like they're from the neighborhood. They're calling him by his first name.
Right.
So, I mean, honestly, like this is the point where we're in our own neighborhoods and we're going to call out our neighbor for his Trump flag. And we're gonna threaten him with a crowd of violent people.
I mean, it's
this
like
is sick.
Yeah, it's like a movie. Remember that Clint Eastwood movie? Remember they were harassing him? Yeah, it's like that.
Exactly. And you know what you're going to end up? You're going to end up with a Charles Bronson type movie.
Exactly.
Okay. If they keep pushing this stuff.
Yeah, it's going to morph into a Charles Bronson. You're right. Death Wish or something. I don't know. It's weird.
It's not going to be good. They really need to understand that like regular homeowners, especially since from March to September, I think everybody's armed. I'm pretty sure that the gun sales prove that everybody is armed now. Yeah. It's not a great idea to do this stuff.
Right. I mean, really, would you harass somebody down your street just because they have a flag outside?
No, actually, there's a guy in this neighborhood that has a Biden little sign, whatever.
Yeah.
How you doing? I waved to him, whatever. Good for you, man.
No one's going to harass. No one in the right mind will.
Yeah, it doesn't even threaten me for a minute because he's the only one that has the Biden sign. It actually takes a lot of balls to put that out there. So God bless him.
Yes, it does. So anyway, take a look at this video again. We'll see what happens. Take a look.
Everybody move your babies. Hey, Pete.
Yeah, y'all see him?
Hey, Pete. You're going to have bigger problems, man. You're going to have bigger problems, Pete. I would advise you to think twice. I don't think you know what's out here, buddy. I care about you. I don't want you to find out.
So he's pointing his shotgun out the window.
Pete. Hey, Pete.
Aim that shit at these motherfuckers.
We at you, Pete.
He's cocking it. Fuck
Pete.
Ain't no bullets in that motherfucker. Look at that crazy motherfucker.
Gotta give you a new nickname now. Pistol Pete.
That's Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan.
Play dumb, Pete.
Play dumb, get the stupid prize.
Play dumb, Pistol Pete.
Play dumb, get the stupid motherfucking prize. That's what his name is.
And you know, in all seriousness, Pete, we are not intimidated by you in the window, good buddy.
We saw the fuck out.
Because I don't think you understand what's out here, man. I keep trying to tell you.
Don't you know? Don't nobody care
That's all I'm saying, man.
He ain't gonna bust shit.
I don't think you want that, good buddy.
Cause this ain't gonna be that. This ain't gonna end like that. I'm telling y'all.
Prime said there's more than meets the eye. Right now, your eyes ain't let you see what's out here pointed at you. So I would suggest. Is that the wife again?
Unbelievable.
This is like we talked about last show and the show before this. This is like a watershed moment in America when if you can't defend your family and your home, then the Second Amendment becomes meaningless. Right. Because I honestly, like, you can't be prosecuted for stuff like that. He's showing the weapon to deter them from coming onto his property, which I don't know what his property lines are, but it seems to me that they're awfully close to it. So he's doing what he legally he can. He's inside his house. If they prosecute this guy, this is, like I said, a watershed moment in legislation and in law enforcement and prosecution. This is nonsense.
It is. I mean, I never see anything like it. I mean, where's the police too? I mean, this didn't show up.
I think the police force in Milwaukee is diminished like most, you know, Philadelphia is going through it. I know New York City is going through it. All the big cities are having the major guys that were close to being able to retire, and the young guys who are like, I'll probably never see my pension anyway, they're leaving too. And what stinks is the middle guys that are like, I worked 10-15 years, I'm kind of hoping for a pension. So I mean, the police departments are literally like ripped to shreds.
Yeah.
I mean, these people are leaving the job because they have no support, and they're not going to risk their life, you know, to do that. Now, I don't know how many people were in that crowd, but I can only imagine that if one cop or maybe two in a car pull up, they're still outnumbered.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's still a situation where law enforcement's not respected, and they establish that. And I think that was part of the plan, is to have these people not respect law enforcement at all. I mean, they're throwing stuff at cops, hitting cops. Now they're shooting cops like we showed last episode. I mean, what's next? Going to their homes? I mean, these guys are really worried about their families going, you know, around. I mean, this is crazy.
It is crazy. And we do have a next video of a police officer resigning because of all this. Let's take a look and see what he said.
I thought long and hard about whether or not I should even make a video, but feel like that today we all kind of need to understand where law enforcement is and the crusade against us that is weighing on every officer's heart in America right now. But it's devastating to be a police officer right now and to know what's going on and how people feel about you and the things that you do in this job, the sacrifices you make, that there's a lot that would rather see you dead just because of the uniform that you wear. There's a bad day coming for us. It is if we don't get a hold of this now. But today I did something that was really hard. I put in my notice, and this is the end of me being a cop after 10 years, and I just can't take it anymore. I'm done with it. It's been one of the best decisions I've ever made was getting in law enforcement. But there's a lot that goes along with it that y'all don't know about, and that's what I'm going to tell you about today. There's a lot of sacrifices that we make, a lot of sacrifices that our family has to make. Being married to a cop is probably one of the hardest jobs in the world. You don't know the torment that they go through, wondering if their loved one's gonna come home, or if today's gonna be the day they're going to tell their kids that their dad didn't come home or their mother ain't coming home.
That's very sad. I mean, unbelievable.
All over this country, that's happening in cities everywhere. I mean, they just had a short write-up in the Wall Street Journal about how devastated the New York Police Department and the Port Authority have been by this recent, de Blasio not supporting them. And even in these, I mean, that guy, I don't know exactly, what town he's from. He said he's not from a big city, but if they don't have the support and they can't do their job and they're going to be fired or they're going to be charged with murder for, shooting people that run after them with a knife or something like that, then they're not going to do it. They're going to give up. They're going to find something else to do and not risk their life. I mean, it's just a simple equation.
Yeah, I mean, somebody coming out to you with a knife or a gun, and you shoot them, and you go to jail for life just because you shot somebody.
Yep, and it depends highly on what color they are.
Right.
That is the storyline that they've created. Right. That we've watched guys that are high on drugs that die. They become these martyrs and they're amazing people. And then the NFL is slapping their name on their helmets and they're having moments of silence for these guys. Right. And the cops are going to jail. And I mean, that's a recipe for disaster.
Right. It is. Well, we're going to have to see what happens because something has to change. Can't go on too much more like this. So, I mean, that's the show for tonight. Bill, do you have any last words?
No, like I said, other than this election is very important, get out and vote. And if you see a mail-in ballot, for somebody else that used to live at your house, don't be surprised because that's what is happening. I've seen it happen around here. And you're just getting random ballots mailed to your house, and that's their plan. I mean, get out and vote and do your part, and hopefully we can find some kind of real trust in the election process because they're doing everything they can to make us not trust the outcome.
Yes, please vote and get out there and vote for Trump. So
absolutely, life or death.
It is. So thanks for subscribers. By the way, the new subscribers, appreciate you doing that for us. And we'll see you next time.
Yep. Take care, everyone.